Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all of you wherever you are, dear members of the Salesian family in the EAO region. I felt honored to share with you concerning our beloved patron, St. Francis de Sales. I put it in 3 points. First of all, I would like to start with the history of China province. The first batch of Salesians, led by then Father Luigi Versilia, landed in Macau on 1906. They are also the first batch arrived in our EAO region. Local Chinese address them as members of the Society of Sales, Sa Lak Je Wui, a closer rendering of the sound of the word Salesian. Almost 20 years later, the name has been changed into Qiyao Wui. It is taken from the Chinese classics called Manchus. Qiyao means caring of the young, which perfectly represents the spirit of St. Francis de Sales, a spirit of pure love for the little ones. This spirit is also perfectly represented in the motto, Da mi animas cetelatore, give me souls and take away the rest. I think we probably are the only one province which is not directly using the name of St. Francis de Sales, but taking from the meaning. The advantage of it would be telling people who we are, a group of people who dedicate themselves for caring of the young. But at the same time, the disadvantage would be easily to forget that we are the descendants from the spirit of St. Francis de Sales, which Don Bosco has given us. So, this year of St. Francis de Sales would be a good opportunity for us to deepen our knowledge and love for our patrons. Secondly, as early as in the year 2016, 6 years ago, marked another 400th anniversary of the publication of the Treatise on the Love of God, another masterpiece of St. Francis de Sales. Father Lanfranco Freticotti, our former provincial, has issued his monthly circular letter in commemoration of it to the members of the Salesian family through Salesian bulletins. I would like to quote some of his reflection and share it with you. I quote, "Before his priestly ordination, Don Bosco wrote down these souvenirs of his spiritual retreat. One of them said, 'The charity and gentleness of St. Francis de Sales are to be my guide.' We all know Da mi animas ceteratore is the motto chosen by Don Bosco. It is in fact a Salesian motto, the motto of St. Francis de Sales. Even when this prayer motto never appears in the voluminous writings of St. Francis de Sales, Bishop Camus, the spiritual son of the saint, bear witness this double phrase was daily on the lips of his master and mentor. The historical background of this prayerful habit of St. Francis de Sales is very interesting. He was the Bishop of Geneva, however, was then in the hands of Calvin and his followers. They were determined to keep the Catholic bishops out of his diocese. This determination of theirs was also due to the fact that the property of the Geneva diocese was extensive and the Calvinists did not intend to part with it. Faced by such a situation, St. Francis de Sales made it his diocesan policy to continue demanding the right to care for the people of his diocese, Dami Animas, while renouncing any demand on diocesan property, Cetera Tolle. For St. Francis de Sales, his motto, Dami Animas Cetera Tolle, had just such concrete and practical meaning. It was not merely a pious aspiration. It was a decision to live in evangelical poverty and look really only for souls. Another quotation from Father Lanfranco, I quote, St. Francis de Sales is a doctor of the Church. Doctor here means teacher. Only very great figures in history have received such a title from Holy Mother Church. The title of Doctor of the Church was bestowed on St. Francis de Sales by Blessed Pope Pius IX in 1877. Doctor of what? St. Pope Paul VI in 1967 first described him as one of the greatest figures of church and history, then called him the Doctor of Divine Love and Evangelical Gentleness. This was repeated by St. Pope John Paul II, first in 1986 as Doctor of Love, and then again in 2002 as Doctor of Divine Love. This means that we can also call St. Francis de Sales Doctor of Charity. St. Francis de Sales is the Doctor of Charity, especially because of his literary and spiritual masterpiece, the Treatise on the Love of God, popularly known as Theotimus. Hopefully, with these short reflections, we can also know better of our patron saint. Lastly, so in preparation of 2022, China Province has planned the following. The objective is to introduce the spirituality of St. Francis de Sales in view of St. John Bosco, especially on the universal call for holiness to all members of the Salesian family in the province. And through publications, actually in 2018, about 4 years ago, we have translated a book, Ask for Nothing, Refuse Nothing, written by Father René Lagaya, a Filipino Salesian, into Chinese. A little booklet, but with a lot of beautiful pictures. And actually, China Province has translated St. Francis de Sales' two masterpieces, Introduction to Devout Life and Treatise on the Love of God, into Chinese almost 40 years ago. In view of this year's celebration, we have also decided to translate another book, Is Don Bosco a True Salesian?, written by Gianni Giglione, an Italian Salesian. The question is answered by the author in choosing 7 words in Salesian spirituality. They are friendship, pastoral zeal, trust in divine providence, the will of God, confession and communion, sweetness of Salesian kindness, and the presence of Mary. It is an insightful reading of the memoirs of the oratory and the biographies of St. Dominic Savio, of Michael Magone, and Francis Besuco, which allow us to discover the quality of St. Francis de Sales that Don Bosco admired in the saintly Bishop of Geneva since his seminary years. Social communication and youth. Since St. Francis de Sales is the patron saint of social communication and a great missionary, we will focus on these 7 words suggested by Gianni Giglione as our focal points. Articles on the reflection of each point mentioned about will be published in our Salesian bulletins. And also a mini youth film festival. Also, in view of these 7 points, a competition on short videos will be open for young people to join and let them to learn more from St. Francis de Sales of how to use social media for evangelization. As conclusions, we are grateful that Rector Major has marked this year as 400th anniversary in commemoration of St. Francis de Sales' death, our patron saints, and allow us to renew and go deeper into the Spirit and make each one of us member of the Salesian family to be an authentic Salesian. Thank you.